I wake up to the smell of honeysuckle and the distant hum of morning cicadas. The sun is just peeking over the hills, casting gold across the rows of collard greens, okra, and sweet corn I planted with my own 2 hands. This land, just shy of 4 acres tucked at the edge of a cookie-cutter suburb outside of Macon, Georgia, is more than soil to me. It's legacy. My grandfather tilled this same dirt when it was nothing but forest and red clay, back when we had to haul water in buckets and pray for rain. Now it's mine. I left the city to come back here, tired of noise, tired of pretending. I wanted to grow food, breathe air that smelled like earth, and live a life that made sense. So I built a modest home on the property, set up raised beds, installed a small greenhouse, and started growing crops using sustainable, organic methods. I even partnered with a local food bank to donate fresh produce every week. My neighbors? Well, they wave. Some. Most don't say much. They keep to their manicured lawns, pastel houses, and tight-lipped smiles. HOA country. I'm the only black landowner in this subdivision. Though my plot isn't governed by the HOA itself. That's because my land was grandfathered in, classified as agricultural use under federal heritage preservation laws. A little-known clause that saved my behind during zoning battles years ago. Still, there's a stiffness in the air when I walk past the gated entrances or roll my pickup down the freshly paved streets. Their lawns are green but silent, controlled. Mine hums with bees and movement. It starts small. A note on my mailbox. Please consider removing the unsightly fencing around your vegetable plots. It is not in line with the community's aesthetic. No name, just typed in a sterile font. Then, a few days later, I find my irrigation hose disconnected. No explanation. I fix it and keep going. But I feel eyes on me now. From behind shutters and tinted car windows. Watching. Judging. The final straw comes when I notice a white SUV idling across the street from my property every morning at 7 a.m. same time I begin harvesting. 2 men inside. Aviator glasses. Clipboard. Not county officials, I checked. Not police either. They don't wave. They just stare. I try to shrug it off. Maybe they're appraisers. Maybe they're lost. But something in my gut clenches. Tight. I've seen this before. Back when I was a kid and my uncle tried to start a community garden in the city. Folks started complaining. Said it would bring down property values. Said it looked messy. They found zoning excuses. He fought and he lost. I remember how that broke him. Not this time. This land has roots deeper than their cement driveways. And I've got documents, history, and the blood of my ancestors on my side. They just don't know it yet. This Tuesday morning when the first complaint hits. A knock on my door, sharp. Official. I wipe soil from my hands and open it to find a man in a crisp blue polo with a stitched HOA logo over the chest. He doesn't smile. Doesn't introduce himself. Just eyes me like I've trespassed onto my own porch. We've had a few concerns from the community, he says, clipboard already in hand, about odor, noise, and farm equipment visible from the street. I blink. Odor. He shrugs, barely looking at me. It's been noted. Chickens, maybe? I don't have chickens, I reply flatly. Well, he says, adjusting his collar. We'd still like to ask you to keep your tools out of sight and limit any agricultural activity that may disrupt the aesthetic harmony of the neighborhood. There it is again. Aesthetic harmony. I remind him, calmly, that my land isn't under HOA jurisdiction, that I'm classified under federal agricultural protection, tied to historical land use. I even offer to show him the papers. He doesn't take them, just squints at me like I'm a child talking back. Let's keep it neighborly, he says, turning without another word. That night, someone tosses a trash bag over my fence, full of spoiled meat and old eggs. The stench is unbearable. I have to bury it to keep raccoons away. 2 days later, a county zoning officer shows up, says he got a call about unauthorized structures. Turns out the greenhouse I've had up for over a year is suddenly under review. He seems surprised when I pull out the permits. I ask who filed the complaint. He shrugs. Anonymous. But my eyes are already drifting toward the white colonial 2 houses down. The one with the blue shutters, perfectly trimmed hedges, and the tiny American flag staked proudly in the grass. That's where he lives, Parker Langford. I'd seen him at the HOA meetings back when I first moved in. Smiled thinly when I introduced myself. Asked if I was renting. He walks his dog by my property every day now. Doesn't wave. Doesn't look away either. Just watches, like a man surveying a problem he plans to fix. A week later, I find Parker on my land, inside the fence line, snapping pictures of my compost bin. I approach, calm but firm. "You're trespassing." He doesn't even flinch. Just says, "This kind of activity attracts pests. You know what happens when rodents start showing up? Families don't feel safe." I know what he means. Families. He's not talking about mice. I tell him again he's trespassing. He leaves, but slow, like he wants me to know he's not afraid. That night, I install trail cameras. Something's coming. I can feel it pressing down on my chest. But they still don't know who they're dealing with. They think I'm just a farmer. They forgot I'm also a fighter.